Well, I think I might have just seen the best movie of the year. Did not expect that at all. On Hulu. Didn't even see it in theaters. Let's review No One Will Save You. No One Will Save You stars Kaitlyn Dever and is directed by Brian Duffield. What's up, guys? Brand new 2023 review. This is for a little movie that I just found out about. It was coming to Hulu. I got a screener for it the other day, but I just didn't get time to do it. And so it came to Hulu today. And first world problems here, but I must say it was nice to not have to pull my laptop next to my TV and plug in the HDMI cable and then pull it up, and you don't get the best sound and whatnot. I just pulled it right up on Hulu, and man, the sound, the audio, everything's just glorious. So, and I think that's the way you need to watch this movie, because this is an alien invasion movie, very similar to movies like Signs. I mean, we've seen so many alien invasion movies, and sometimes they're more ambiguous, you know, they don't show too much, and then sometimes it's all right there. I will say this one is more upfront about what it's trying to do. It sets the table pretty early on. It's action-packed, you know, but it's also definitely cerebral in nature. Like when you get done with the movie, you might be scratching your head a little bit. But I mean that in the best way, because it's not one of those movies where you're scratching your head the whole time you're watching it, trying to figure out what's going on. No, it's a straightforward, white-knuckled thriller. It's kind of a mixture of things too, because it's like a home invasion movie, but it's also like an alien type movie. It's got its own gimmick as well, being that there is maybe a line of dialogue in this entire movie, because it's one person. So let's jump into your quick plot synopsis. Kaitlyn Dever plays Bryn. She's pretty much the only character throughout this entire movie. Yeah, there are a couple of other characters that are important that you get to later on. But I'd say like 90% of this movie, you're spending time with her and aliens. But also, Bryn is a very interesting character. You can tell that something really bad happened in her past. You don't know what it is until quite a bit into the movie, but you can just see, you know, her demeanor when she goes into town. The townspeople, they have pretty much cast her out. She lives alone. She's kind of a recluse. She doesn't really want to come out of the house. When she does try to come out of the house, she has to put on a brave face, because she knows that she's going to be persecuted, looked down upon. People are going to be angry with her because of something that happened in the past. So then very quickly we realize that there is this alien invasion, and she is attacked. It's a home invasion by this alien. And this is where the movie gets really fun. And this is like first act of the movie. You could almost say that the first act, especially when that alien gets in that house, this is like stuff that you might see in the last act of a movie. A lot of movies try to hold their quote-unquote best stuff, or the big chase, until the final act of the movie, and everything before that is just setting up the chess pieces along the way. But no, this movie, it has a unique structure because there's action all the way through it. It doesn't stop, and I love that about it. It takes a breather every now and then for some nice story beats, but it just flies right by, and it's really fun, but it's also great. There's an emotional anchor to the movie, which I think makes it special. And it's beautifully directed by Brian Duffield, who also wrote the movie. It's a great story, great script. This is really the stuff of great filmmakers right here. I was getting vibes, you know, from directors from like the 70s, like Spielberg, obviously, because of the alien connection. A little bit of John Carpenter here and there. Just a good mix of different storytellers and filmmakers, but it does have its own unique stamp about it. And you're gonna definitely draw comparisons to Signs. I would even say the structure of this movie, very similar to Signs. Although I think this one is more upfront and in your face than Signs was. Signs was definitely more ambiguous. But again, this is just one character. Kaitlyn Dever is phenomenal in this movie because very little, if any, dialogue by her throughout the whole thing. So she has to pretty much emote with her body, her facial expressions. And just imagine having to, win over your audience without being able to say a word. We can't help but love her because she is kind of a spitfire. There's definitely some help with these moments that allude to what happened in the past, of course. We all like troubled characters that have had, bad things happen to them. Maybe they made some horrible mistakes, because we've all made mistakes and it's just relatable stuff. There's definitely a psychological element to this movie that you can't look away from as you're watching it. But also, present day, you can't help but get behind her because of the lessons that she's learned along the way. There's definitely an arc in this movie in the present day, because I'd say the 3-act structure of this is the first act is her fighting an alien, then the second act is her going into town and learning about this alien invasion and what's going on and how it's affecting the community. And then the third act, pretty much just everything in the kitchen sink just thrown at you. It's a culmination of the 2 acts before on steroids. And it is so satisfying. The filmmaking is just amazing. The sound design, glorious. But one thing I love about this movie is it always keeps you guessing. You never know where it's going to go. Even though what's right in front of you is this alien invasion, you never know what's around the corner because of this character. And I love that they only give you just a little bit along the way. They don't tell you everything that's going on with Bryn, who Bryn is ultimately as a character. It's little stuff that you learn along the way with this action set piece underneath. There's a moment in this movie where Bryn decides to stop running and start standing up for herself. You're gonna have that, that nice, I guess, like booby trap section of the movie where she's setting things up, but that's not ultimately what this movie is about, though. I'll just say this, without spoiling anything. There's a reason why these aliens are attracted to Bryn, okay? That's all I'm gonna say, and I think that's what makes this movie special, what makes it great. It's a really fun story with a lot of heart, a lot of emotion, and relatability. And believe me, guys, I know it sounds like I'm telling you a lot, but I'm not really at all. There's so much, especially in the final act, that I haven't even scratched the surface on, okay? I'm being very broad strokes when it comes to the final act of this movie because it goes epic, all right? And I didn't think it was gonna do that. I thought this was gonna be, just kind of a small scale type, single environment, home invasion movie, which is fine. But I like that this movie just got bigger and bigger and bigger along the way. This is a bona fide trapped on an island. And wow, did not expect that at all. Can't recommend this movie enough. Please, please, please watch this movie, support this movie, because there's a lot of crap out there in the theaters these days, all right? Not saying everything's bad. There's some good stuff out there too, but I just love that this is also just an original story or an original property. It's not a sequel. It's not a remake. It's not a prequel. It's its own thing. And it's proof that there are still really great and interesting stories out there. Yes, this movie is going to remind you of other movies, but it's definitely its own thing. All right? Can't stress that enough. So please, please, please check out No One Will Save You when you get a chance. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we review our Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Drumdum out.